Are you tired of working hard and feeling like you're getting nowhere? Do you ever feel as though you're on a hamster wheel, moving fast, staying busy, but not making meaningful progress? And are you even completely clear about where you want to go? If you answered yes to any of those questions, you're not alone. But I want to ask you another question. What are you focused on? Not just occasionally, but throughout the day when you're driving, getting ready for work, standing in line, or lying awake at night. Where does your mind go when no one else is around? Years ago, I had a long commute that required me to leave the house by about 5:15 in the morning every morning. I'd spend approximately an hour and a half on the road, alone in my car, and alone with my thoughts, driving down dark roads, before the sun came up. I could have listened to music, an audiobook, or the latest podcast, but instead I often found myself thinking about my thinking. I was surprised by how much time I spent judging myself, judging other people, and judging my circumstances. Judging in my own mind. I'm in my 50s now, and over the years, I spent a great deal of time thinking about trivial things that didn't really matter. I spent time replaying conversations, worrying about how I'd been perceived, feeling irritated about what other people had done, and thinking about situations I couldn't change. Meanwhile, I wasn't spending much time focusing on where I wanted to go, what I wanted to create, or what I truly wanted my life to look like. Now, I'm sharing this with you today because I don't want you to struggle with this for as long as I did. I don't want your dreams to remain out of focus because your attention is constantly being pulled towards thoughts that don't support the life you want to create. Today, I'm going to share 3 signs that your thoughts may be quietly destroying your dreams. But more importantly, what you can begin doing about them. The first sign is that a large percentage of your thoughts are centered on judgment. You may be judging yourself. Why did I say that? Why can't I get myself together? Why am I not further along? Or you may be judging other people. Oh, they shouldn't have done that. They should know better. They don't appreciate me. And sometimes we judge our entire situation. My life should not look like this. I should not have to deal with this. Nothing ever works out for me. Now, some judgment is natural. I mean, we evaluate situations and make decisions, but when judgment becomes the soundtrack of your life, it consumes energy that could be used to create something different. Every hour you spend mentally arguing with yourself, another person, or a situation is an hour you're not using to imagine, plan, or move toward what you actually want. Begin by noticing judgment without judging yourself for judging. When you catch yourself in that pattern, pause and ask, is this thought helping me create the life I want? You don't have to pretend that everything feels wonderful. You're simply becoming aware of where your attention is going. Then ask, what would be a more useful thought right now? Instead of, oh, I can't believe I've wasted so much time, you might say, I'm becoming more intentional about how I use my time now. That small shift moves you from condemnation to creation. The second sign is that you can clearly describe everything you don't want, but you have difficulty describing what you want instead. You know you don't want to feel overwhelmed. You know you don't want to stay in the same job. You don't want to struggle financially. You don't want to keep repeating the same patterns. But when someone asks, what do you want your life to look like? The answer may not be as clear. This matters because it's difficult to move towards a destination you've never clearly identified. When our thoughts are constantly focused on what's wrong, we may become very knowledgeable about the problem without getting any closer to the solution. I should know. I did this for years. I could tell you everything that frustrated me, everything I wished was different, and everything I thought was standing in my way. But I wasn't giving the same amount of attention to the life I wanted to build. Whenever you notice yourself focusing on something you don't want, ask, what do I want instead? If you're thinking, I don't want to feel this overwhelmed, ask, what would feeling supported and in control look like? If you're thinking, I don't want to stay stuck in this job forever, ask, what kind of work would feel meaningful and sustainable to me? If you're thinking, I don't have enough time, ask, what is important enough for me to make time for? You don't need to have the entire answer. You are teaching your mind to look beyond the problem and begin searching for a possibility. The third sign is that you spend a great deal of time thinking about your dreams, but very little time turning those thoughts into action. You may research, plan, imagine, reconsider, and then research some more. Oh, I'll begin when I have more time. I'll do it when I feel more confident. I need to figure out a few more things first. Thinking can feel productive because your mind is active, but movement inside your mind is not always movement in your life. I know what it's like to have ideas that remain ideas for years because I believed I needed to feel completely ready before I could begin. But clarity often comes from taking action, not before taking action. Ask yourself, what is one small step I feel ready to take? Not the entire plan, not the perfect step, not the step that guarantees success, just one small step. Writing the first paragraph, making one phone call, researching one class, setting aside 15 minutes, sending one email, recording one imperfect video. Your dreams don't need you to have everything figured out today. They need evidence that you're willing to move towards them. Now, you may be thinking, Cynthia, I cannot control every thought that enters my mind. And you are absolutely right. Thoughts can appear automatically. Old fears, judgments, memories, and doubts may surface without your permission. The goal is not to control every thought or force yourself to think positively all the time. The goal is to become more aware of which thoughts you continue feeding. A thought may enter your mind without your permission, but you can decide whether you'll build a home for it. You can notice the thought, question it, and redirect your attention toward something more useful. Here is something you can practice today. At 3 different points during your day, pause and ask yourself, what am I thinking about right now? Am I judging or am I creating? Am I focusing only on what's wrong or am I identifying what I want? Is there one small action I can take? Don't criticize yourself for what you discover. Become curious. Awareness is not another opportunity to judge yourself. Awareness is an opportunity to choose again. So, your thoughts may be interfering with your dreams when, first, You spend more time judging than creating. Second, you focus more on what's wrong than on what you want. And third, your thoughts remain thoughts instead of becoming small, meaningful actions. You don't have to transform your entire thought life overnight. Start by noticing, then questioning. What are you thinking? Decide what, what do you want? Finally, redirect your attention toward one thought or action that supports where you want to go. Imagine what could change if even a small portion of the time you currently spend worrying, judging, or replaying the past was redirected towards your future. What could you create? What could you learn? What conversation could you begin? What dream could finally receive your attention? Your attention is one of your most valuable resources. Where you repeatedly place it can either keep your dreams out of focus or help bring them into view. Your thoughts don't have to be perfect, but they should not be allowed to use all of your energy fighting the life you have while giving none of your energy to creating the life you want. You cannot always control the first thought that enters your mind, but you can become more intentional about the thought you choose next. I would love to hear from you. Which of these three patterns do you recognize most in yourself? Do you spend more time judging, focusing on what's wrong, or thinking without taking action? Share your answer in the comments. And if you're ready to become more intentional about your thoughts, your choices, and the life you are creating, subscribe and continue this journey with me. Thanks for watching.